It's awesome.
All right. Hello, everybody. We have started week 7 of our 9-week health and wellness challenge. I am Melissa Wittenborn with Mo Motivation Health, and I am so excited. But before I introduce our very special guest, we have a couple of announcements to make. One is our move of the week is Cossack squats. If you're looking for a good bum burner, Google it. It's a biggie. Also, for those of you on my team, if you haven't checked in yet, please do so. Your team is counting on you, and this is an accountability challenge. And the Cossack squats will challenge you. Just make sure that when you squat, you are on your heel, on your squatting foot, so that you're not go over and hurt your knee. So just be very careful. Make sure that your one foot is straight out and the other foot is out to the side, and take your time with these so that you don't injure yourself. So, and I can do it without holding on to anything. So I'm challenging everybody to one up the old gal. So, last night, our JuvaFit commit call talked about inflammation and how lack of sleep can cause inflammation in the body. And we do have some wonderful supplements that help with that, namely our ginger and turmeric, but also making sure that you get about 150 minutes a week in cardio aerobic. It doesn't have to be jogging marathons, but just movement. And then a couple times a week doing some strength training. So, anyways, I have the amazing Esmee. I met her in a self-mastery group. Just have loved getting to know her. She is a personal trainer, and she has had a very interesting health and wellness challenge for herself. And I want her to share nuggets and tidbits about what she's learned on her health and wellness journey, as well as being a personal training expert. So, Esmee, take it away and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate you bringing me on today. I'm really excited to actually share my journey. And first and foremost, I mean, that's whatever it's led me to is really close to my heart and actually the path that I'm supposed to be on. I'm a retired hotel manager. And the way I actually got into fitness and wellness and health and all of the things is actually through my own health journey, because working 80 hours a week in a hotel was not quite the healthy thing to do, and I actually ended up having a burnout, which in hindsight wasn't a blessing in disguise. And I was 2 pounds away from 200 pounds, and one day I woke up and I just didn't recognize myself in the mirror anymore, and I just wanted change for myself. So I flipped the switch in my head. It sounds easier than it really was, to be honest.
Right.
But I made a decision for myself to cut out desserts, sugar, anything that's sweet. As you may know, there's sugar in everything, right? It's not just desserts or chocolate or candy or anything like that. It's sauces, it's the way certain cuisines are made of and stuff like that, right? So I started cutting that out and started becoming part of a challenge, which is actually why I believe that I was so successful, because in the end of the day, it was a community that held me accountable. But I was able to lose 40 pounds within 3 months.
That's
Um,
amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, in hindsight, I did a lot of cardio during that challenge. And also, would I recommend that nowadays? Probably not. I would incorporate more strength training 100%. But during that time, that's what it was. I didn't, have all the knowledge and stuff like that. And I just went on my journey. And yeah, and from that time on, through whatever happened to me, the whole transformation, everything that I released the weight and that I changed mentally, the brain fog that disappeared, all of that transformation and the way I felt differently from before led me on this path of wanting to share with other people what it feels like. That's what really inspired me to make a difference for other people as well.
So somebody
And
last, oh, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I was just
No,
gonna
it's
say,
okay.
because I want to kind of expand on what you just said. So last night, I was on a captain's call, and one of the women said, make sure that you understand that before you get the scale victory, that there's an internal transformational victory. And I would like you to touch on that because you just said that. And I thought maybe we should expand on that because I think a lot of people look at just a number on the scale and they don't understand the dynamic of the internal transformation that happens.
Exactly. Exactly. The scale is not your friend. It's absolutely not your friend because this is just it's just a freaking number, and once you start actually working out is when your muscle mass increases, especially with the strength training, as well as your bone density and everything. And at the beginning, especially, you lose water weight as well, right? So
Right,
you may lose 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds quickly, but then maybe your plateau, it depends on your body type, how your body reacts, how your metabolism is, and all of the things, how you're intaking your food and all of the things. So there might be a possibility that you're gaining weight at the beginning, but your body shape really changes. So
yes.
that's why it's important not only to step on the scale, but also take before and after pictures. And it's crucial. It's crucial. And I say that for everybody. Take your measurements.
Yes.
Take your measurements, like from your neck down, your upper arm, lower arm, your waist, your hips, your everything. Because there's been so many times when I work with my clients and they stepped on the scale, and we do all three things, right? We do the scale, we do the measurements, we do the body fat percentage. And they stepped on the scale and you were just seeing the frustration all over the place. But once we did the measurements, it was like, okay, I just lost 2 inches on my belly. I
Right.
just lost 1.5 inch on my waist. Like both of them. How is it even possible? It's
I've
insane.
lost an inch and a half in my waist, and the scale is fluctuating between only 7 to 10 pounds lost. But I
Yeah.
can feel internally, my body just kind of feeling more toned. I can't even explain it, but I tell people don't just look at the scale. It's not a starvation journey, it is a health and wellness journey.
It sure is. And because you said internal transformation, I mean, I can remember when I was working at that job and I couldn't focus on anything anymore. My first meal would be at 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And usually it was a whole plate of carbs with like
Right.
noodles or stuff like that. And I remember I would walk out in like the afternoon, whatever, and I was so tired and I just couldn't understand why I was so lack of energy. And it was just there was no nutrients, there was no enzymes, there was no I mean, like you're doing all of these things and you're not giving your body what it actually needs, right?
So
So
talk a
once
little bit about what happens when you overload on carbs, because when you're hungry, the carbs will fill you up the fastest. But talk about that roller coaster, which spirals into wanting more.
Right. So basically it's that the blood sugar, right? So it's you overload on that carbs and it's really depleting your body of the energy that it needs because the carbs is what is making you need to digest it, right? So and this is really that takes away energy from you that you need to fuel your brain with. Your brain is a muscle too. So by you taking away the energy from your brain to having to think or whatever the case may be, you're taking it to your stomach where it needs to digest. And it just doesn't work like that. And at the same time, Digesting takes energy. So that's why water fasts are also so impactful. Because now if you have inflammation in your body, for example, if you do a water fast, right? Um, you taking away that focus from the digestion and leaving your body to actually focus on anything else that's going on in your system.
I
Because
see.
we all have self-healing properties, right? But
Right.
if our body is distracted from focusing on what's really essential, it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. And then you're having all these symptoms and you're not finding out the root cause and it can't focus on that.
What about intermittent fasting? We hear about that all the time, and I'm a big believer in it. And I tell people, okay, if you're gonna fast for like 16 or 18 hours, that doesn't mean you eat nonstop for 6. You still have to kind of pace yourself so your body can process it. So address that for us, please.
So you said you like intermittent fasting or you don't?
Yes, I do.
You do?
I do.
Um, I do believe it depends on your metabolism type. So there's some people that it works really well for. Me personally, I'm not one of these people, to be honest with you, but I did have a client, her doctor recommended it and it worked for her like a charm. It was amazing. She was diabetic, and for her to actually fast until like in the afternoon, um, it worked super well for her because of she kept her blood sugar in check and she would work out first thing in the morning. So that was absolutely amazing. And for her to actually, within that time window where she was allowed to eat, to get 2 or 3 meals in, that held her accountable. And that didn't let her blood sugar spike all the way up. And that helped her also lose some weight. So
Perfect.
it really depends on um everybody's different. It depends on your body type. It depends also on your blood type, which I'm not too familiar with, but that's one thing that I heard as well.
Really
Yeah. Hmm.
interesting. So talk about working out. I think you and I talked about this the other day. I'm a big believer in that you cannot exercise yourself out of a shitty
Oh
diet.
yeah. Oh yeah. That's one of my pet peeves because there's so many um colleagues of mine, I get what you'd call it, other personal trainers. And they're like,
Great.
oh, you don't need to restrict yourself. You can eat whatever you want and you can lose weight. Yeah, of course. You want to count calories and macros. It's all complicated and stuff like that. You can eat whatever you want. But why would you want to do that if it's not healthy? Like, why would you want to eat something that's like has 3,500 ingredients in it, which really just about going back to the basics and just having, I don't know, 3 ingredients versus 50, and you actually know what's in your food, right? Because in the end of the day, okay, you're gonna lose the weight when you calorie count. It's just it's a math.
Great.
It's a numbers game, so to speak. But at the same time, if you're using all the vegetable oils that cause inflammation, that are like processed and processed and processed through several things, you still gonna keep that inflammation. Versus if I mean, extreme example, right? You're going on a raw food diet and you're just eating vegetables, and you're actually working against that inflammation. So you're still getting the calories here, the calories there. You have the same amount of calories, but what quality of food are you putting into your body? What type of energy are you getting out of it? How is it gonna be processed in your body? Where is it gonna get digested or not? Like if it's like chemicals or anything like that. I just saw a video yesterday on maltodextrose sugar, right? Sweetener,
Great.
whatever the
Great.
case may be, right? The way that it's being made right now is in a way that our body cannot adjust it, digest it, sorry. And in that case, it just stays in your body, it just stays in your fat, it just stays on your hips, it just stays everywhere, and you start taking it on, and that's where all the high blood pressure comes from and all all the HDL and, like strokes, heart attacks, anything like that. That's just another reason. And a couple of years ago, I started reading all the labels, and it's just crazy to me what is in our groceries. So me
Well,
personally, I'm at the point where I just buy the same things all the time because I spend enough time figuring out what's good and what's not.
right. I
Yeah.
was just I was just talking to my sister yesterday in the United States, Kraft cheese, Sargento cheese, and some of the other big labels. If you buy shredded cheese, they are now adding natamycin into it. And they've just recently done this. And I
Oh,
was telling
really?
my sister, yes, I was telling my sister, every time I go to the grocery store now, even if I bought it 10,000 times, I'm reading it. And if I don't know what it is, I don't buy it. If it
Right,
says something like green beans sea salt, I'm in. If it says green beans, sodium nitroxous oxide, and all this other stuff, it's like, no, I don't even know what that is. And there's some
right,
things that are in our foods that have words like that are this long. I can't even pronounce them, and I'm pretty good with
right,
the English language. But it's
right.
like, if I don't know what you are, you're not going to enter my body. So I encourage people to do is nutritionally sound as you can because it's kind of a
Mhm.
crazy world right now with our food supply chain.
Mhm.
But I find that really interesting. So tell
Mhm.
me about, because you're a personal trainer, are you a nutritionist also?
No, not certified, but I do recommend meal plans and yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, please.
So from my personal journey, I can tell you this much. What worked for me and my metabolism at the time I had the burnout, I my metabolism was stagnant. So it was just not working like it was supposed to. And what actually kicked it back off was meal planning, as in I had 5 small portions a day of 300 grams, which is about this size. I want to say
Right,
it's like really
right.
small. Um, you get really hungry after a while just because your metabolism starts kicking off. And that's okay like that. That's supposed to be intended like that. And it's supposed to be a combination of protein, fibers, carbs, and fats, right? And in between, if you're really hungry, either drink water or have a fruit, have a nectarine, not necessarily a banana because a banana is a whole, it has way more calories than like an apple or.
Right.
But basically, that's what really helped me release the weight that I was able to release. And it's 80% of your weight loss journey is the nutrition. That's just what it is. 100%.
And you
And
also told me that you balance your hormones. How did you
yeah.
do that?
So in 2022, that was years later after my burnout, I was actually diagnosed with a thyroid growth,
Oh,
with a
right,
thyroid adenoma, which they told me I had to have surgery for, especially because I'm quote unquote still young and they don't want me to develop like osteoporosis and stuff like that, this, that, and the
right,
third.
right.
Turned out that I was really severely deficient in vitamin D. Vitamin D is regulating everything: your immune system, your thyroid, your adrenal gland, your hormones, your bones, like whatever you can think of. Vitamin D is like the holy grail. And everybody is deficient and nobody's telling you. And if you go to the doctor and you get a blood sample or whatever the case may be, it shows your range and you're within that range, you're still deficient because the ranges are
Agreed.
set that low.
Agreed.
I know
I
you
met with a functional nutritional doctor
do.
years ago. It's been about
Mhm,
6 or 7 years. And she said, "Oh, your vitamin D's low." And it was 30, which
mhm,
was in the normal range.
mhm,
And she said, "No." I recommend that people have it be at least 60.
Wow. Okay.
And it's very difficult to raise your vitamin D levels through being in the sun or even with a supplement. It doesn't happen like that. It's not like a pill can just cure you like that.
Yeah.
And
And that's
so what
go
I
ahead.
learned is that if you are taking vitamin D supplements, that there's two types that are better than the oral vitamin D, and that
Mhm.
you always want to take it in combination with vitamin K, because vitamin K helps you absorb the vitamin D. And so it's better if you have drops of vitamin D with K, or even spray if you can believe it. Because think about this, your skin is the largest organ on your body. And
100%.
so I had a friend and I was taking the pills that the functional nutritional doctor gave to me. And she
Hmm.
was using the drop and the spray. And guess whose vitamin D got raised more quickly?
Oof.
It wasn't mine.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so now she's able to back off it a little bit and just take it 2 or 3 times a week. But I think it's due to our farming practices, at least here in the States. It used to be, I was married to a guy whose family were farmers for decades,
Hmm.
and they would rotate their crops. So they would plant corn and then they
Hmm.
would plant alfalfa or clover to add nitrogen and phosphorus into the soil. And then they would plant corn again. And now we're all about chemicals and fertilizers and things that just aren't made for the body to digest. So vitamin D is seriously lacking in most of
Yes.
our diets. I'm also told that in the States that most people lack magnesium also. Do you know anything about magnesium? I don't know that much.
I mean, magnesium is really important for all your bodily functions, especially for recovery, for your muscles, for your bones, for anything like that, for your digestion also. And that's one of the supplements that I'm taking, and I'm taking a lot of supplements. I'm taking selenium, I'm taking vitamin D, I'm taking zinc, I'm taking magnesium, calcium. Um, what else?
Zinc can only be
Green
processed
tea.
in your body with selenium.
Right, exactly. So, and it's also, you're supposed to take zinc in the evening and not in combination with vitamin D. So you're really supposed to take vitamin D in the morning, and because it also
Ah,
gives you more energy. So if you take vitamin D together with zinc at the same time, zinc is not being absorbed. So it's basically all these things. And people say, "Oh, I'm gonna do this for a month." Okay. It's, it's, if it doesn't harm you, it's probably gonna help you. But the
right,
problem is it's minerals and vitamins. It's not just a pill that you take to actually make a change from one day to the other. It takes time. It takes a month or 2 or 3, or even if you're severely deficient. The doctor that actually recommended it to me, she said, you're gonna take zinc for about a year or two right now, because otherwise your immune system is not gonna go to the way it's supposed to be, because that's how long it takes. And you need to take it on a regular basis. And people sometimes are like, yeah, okay, I missed that one. I'm not taking it, or I forgot about it, whatever the case. It's about the consistency. That's
I
what's
would
so
agree with
important
that.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, when I started becoming very persistent and consistent with the supplementation that I knew I needed, I'm a big believer in ginger, turmeric. We actually have a product that's made from a muscadine grape that's grown in the southeast where I live. And it has so many phytonutrients and tocotrienols, which are just really important for your immune system and the blood flow in your body. And and when I got consistent, is when I really started seeing the results. And I not only saw the results like what we were talking about earlier from the inside out, but I also saw the results when I went in for my blood work.
Mhm.
5 years ago, I was pre-diabetic. I was a heart attack on rye, I like to joke about. I was like on a slippery slope to a heart attack, very inflamed, very obese. I'm still overweight. There's no question about that. But what I'm finding is that the inflammation comes down, my osteoarthritis is calming down. Everything is just calming down because of the supplementation and the inner to outer transformation that we were talking about earlier in the podcast. That is just, it's amazing when I don't even weigh myself every day anymore because it's so frustrating. Because it's like I feel
Mhm.
great and I step on the scale and I want to, shoot the scale. And it's like, but I know that things are happening because I can feel the differences in my clothes, how they fit. I can see it in my face. I can see it in my complexion. I mean, I can see it like all over the place, and people will come up to me and say, "Wow, how much weight have you lost?" And I'm like, "Not much." And they're like,
Right.
"Really?" Because it's a transformation. So I've decided the scale is not the only measurement. Like you
No,
said, I
it's not the
measure
best
different
indicator.
parts of my body and just how my clothes are fitting. I'm having my clothes are all starting to fall off me right now, and the scale doesn't say that I've
Awesome.
lost 30 pounds, although I wish it would, but it is an inner to outer transformation.
Right.
Esme,
Right.
thank you so much for being on this call. Tell me
Welcome.
some final thoughts. And also, because I know we're going to post this on both of our YouTube channels, I am Melissa at momotivation.com. And I love helping other people not only increase their health and wealth, or their health and fitness, but also you're able to enjoy your wealth, which I also help people with as well. So I think it's all a whole body, mind, and soul sort of a thing. My most famous mantra is you are one thought away from empowering yourself to change your life and to make better choices for yourself.
This is true.
Esme, give us your contact information, please.
Sure, definitely. Follow me on Instagram at this.is.esmee, ESMEE. And yeah, you can find me there. My app is actually launching mid-March.
Is it
So
really?
it is
Tell us
mid-March.
a
I'm
little bit
super
about your
excited
app.
about it. I beg your pardon?
Tell us a little bit about your app.
So it's actually virtual personal training, and you can access it from anywhere in the globe. There's personal training, in-person sessions via video call, and there's also preset training plans that you can purchase on a subscription basis or just a one-time thing. And there's also recommendations in regards to nutrition, supplements, meal plans, anything like that. Resources, as in, I love this book, which is called Eat to Live by Dr. Furman. I don't know if you ever read that, but that book is just
I haven't, but I've heard
mind-blowingly
of it.
helpful.
Yes.
Yes, and it helped so many clients of mine as well, to completely put them on a different path. Yeah, it's just in my passion to actually have other people go through the experience that I had and the transformation that I had, because you can live your life, but wouldn't you want to live the life that you can be the best version of yourself?
I
It's
love that.
just a different it's just a different feeling if you actually if you're in a good state of your body mind soul connection. And yeah, and I wish
Perfect.
that everybody can experience that, because we're being bombarded with so many different things nowadays: stress, cortisol, decision making, free radicals. I mean, we're not set up for success, so we need to be smart enough to like educate ourselves to live a healthy lifestyle.
I would agree. Real quickly, if you don't mind, because I know it's really, really late there, do you mind
Okay.
taking a couple questions if anybody has any questions for you?
Yes, absolutely. Would be my pleasure.
Michelle, Lori, do you guys have any questions for her? Isn't she a special lady?
She's amazing. Thank you so much. I have been listening as I've been eating and walking around my kitchen, eating supper. It was a salad, so I did good tonight.
Yay.
Avocado. My favorite food.
Beautiful.
My
Get
question
good
is
healthy
with
fats.
with zone 2 training. So for those of us who are past menopause, right, and we're in this later years of our lives, I've been reading about we should be more in zone 2 training. Talk to us about, I know we need to get cardio, but is it essential to get zone 3, like high heart rate for 40 minutes, or can we be at a certain heart rate level? Yeah.
When you say zone 2, what do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Zone 2 is what a lot of US doctors, like menopause doctors, are recommending. In other words, you're moving your body, but you're not like at 140 beats per minute for
So she's
Oh, okay, okay,
talking
okay. You're
about
talking,
heart,
okay, that's what you're talking about.
45
rate
minutes.
while you're
Heart rate.
Your
exercising.
heart rate,
Yes.
yeah, your heart rate
Um,
zones.
Whatever stage you're at, I think strength training is the one that actually makes a difference for you. Cardio is great, but there's three components of a fat cell, and it's also adding more bone density. And the older we get, the more of that is what we need, right? So whether it is, for example, for losing weight, there's three components, and you can only get rid of two of those components in a fat cell if you do cardio. The last one you can only get rid of with strength training. So whatever stage you're at, I mean, obviously, if you're premenopause, it's a hormonal thing, but that's where the minerals and the enzymes come in. As soon as we turn 30, all of that is being decreased. That's why we're starting to feel a difference. It's, for example, like a simple thing, like apart from the hormone situation, right? First and foremost, we didn't even touch on that. We spoke on that earlier. Is the 8 hours of sleep. It's the 8 hours of sleep that's already messing with our hormones, right? But at the same time, it's when you go out drinking and it all of a sudden takes you 3 days to recover instead of one. That's that sign that you have, okay, you're not producing as many minerals and enzymes anymore as you used to, because it takes you way longer to recover. That's also in regards to your muscle recovery and all of these things, right? So if you don't have the resources in your body to get you to a level for you to basically recover and to function properly, then it's an issue, right? And yeah.
So if I'm
Did I
hearing you
answer your question?
correctly, you're saying it's less about the heart rate and the heartbeats per minute while you're working out, and it's more about
It
getting
depends.
in some cardio and some strength training as well. Did
There
I hear
should
that right?
be cardio once or twice a week, but the focus should be in strength training. Yeah. Especially the older you get, it if you're premenopause, because in the end of the day, everything is muscle tissue, right? And you want to make sure that that is supported, because if you're not using it, then you lose it. Simple as that.
That is true.
It's also the oxygen that gets into your body. It's the bone density. It's all of these things, and the more oxygen you have, the more it's supporting your hormonal function, and your adrenal gland. That's essentially the one that is the
Right,
main character in the play.
right, right.
Well, thank you
Thank
for
you.
that. Yeah, strength training is important. It is.
Lori, did you have any questions for Esme?
Nope.
There she is.
Hi, Lori.
Have you unmuted yourself? Can you unmute yourself, Lori?
There.
There she is.
Sorry, I just wanted to say very, very informative. I really appreciated this call. I've learned a
Thank you.
lot, and it's going to be great to go back and listen to the replay.
Perfect,
Thank you, Lori. I
Good
appreciate that.
information.
I'm glad I was able to add some value.
perfect. Yeah. I think we all know these things, but I think you addressed them in different ways where maybe we hear it differently, but it was wonderful. Thank you for staying up until the middle of the night to
Absolutely.
talk
It's my
to us.
pleasure.
I so
It's my
appreciate you, and I will send you the link.
Yes.
And thank you again. I hope we can do this again soon because it was
Yes,
just
absolutely. I'm down.
it was
I'd love
wonderful.
to.
I'm
And you
glad
should
you're
be
here
having me
different time
on.
for Esme
because it's
than
almost
was
2 o'clock in the morning where she's at. So
Yeah, right? As we
thank
can
you so
do
much.
early morning.
Thank you,
Thank you,
girls.
Esme.
Thank you,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.